This is the Not Bitter, Just Better podcast.
The Everton our way.
Straight from the street end.
Howdy Blues, welcome to the Not Bitter, Just Better Everton podcast. Mr. Johnny Seven here, as always. And it's a good Monday to be a Blue. Back-to-back wins. God, can't remember the last time that happened. Yeah. And it was a real test this weekend. Anyway, before I move on to that, it's going to be another short show today. I don't know. I'm thinking about playing with the system a little bit. So I want to do a recap show every Monday, and then look ahead to the weekend game. Next week's going to be tricky, isn't it? Because we've got a midweek game, and then. But we're playing Leicester at home on Saturday. So I'll record today, and then I'll record again on Thursday night to get an episode out on Friday. We'll look ahead to the Leicester game. There's still not a whole lot of news coming out. There's little bits and bobs, but there's no real transfer news as yet. Hopefully that will change soon. What's going to have to change soon, isn't it? Because with the developments of the weekend. So it's going to have to change soon, you'd imagine. I mean, if it doesn't, I can see a few not too happy faces around Everton. So we'll see. But there's one or two being linked again. I'll come on to that in the Everton news in a little bit. But first off, a trip to the Amex Stadium in Brighton, recapping on Saturday's game. And did a little bit of a preview beforehand, Friday's episodes, and looked at potential ones to watch for Brighton. I don't think any of them played. Yeah, they did. Matoma played, and Minte came on. Brighton, yeah, did end up making a few changes. Everton did not. So let's just have a little look at the lineups. Verbruggen in goal, Lamptey played rather than Estepinian. Van Hecker, and Veltman played. Carlos Baliba and Ayari played, and Garuda, Matoma, Pedro, and Welbeck. And then for the Mighty Blues, it was Pickford in goal again. O'Brien kept his place. Tarkowski, Branthwaite, and Mikalenko. And the midfield, a central three of Idrissa Gueye, Aramangana, and Abdoulaye Doucouré. And Lindstrom on the right, and Ndiaye on the left, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin up top on his own for a little while at least. The match itself, Calvert-Lewin ended up pulling up with a hamstring strain, it looks like, early on in the game, 13th minute, and he obviously was forced off, and Beto came on, and there's not really that much else to reflect on. Of course, there is one special bit which Beto didn't have the best performance, but he did ultimately chase down a ball into the Brighton box, which put a little bit of pressure on. And the ball was scooped away from him illegally. The defender. I don't know how anyone is saying this wasn't a penalty. Pressure from Beto. I'm not having that. The amount that clubs normally get away with, and we normally have to. That's a stonewall penalty. That is. Am I being biased? So 42nd minute, up steps Iliman Ndiaye. I think that was his 7th goal of the season. Was it his 7th? Compared to the penalty, and then goes on to get one of the weakest bookings I've ever seen for doing a flapping bird seagull celebration, and he got booked. I've seen some daft comparisons. So Phil Foden's is shooting gestures. Vardy was winding up the Spurs fans by pointing to the Premier League, which is surely more of an inciting incident than Ndiaye trying to take off. He's a winger, isn't he? You know, So really, really soft booking, but it proved to be very, very valuable for Everton because I think it was one of our only shots on target, wasn't it? It was a very strange game, and you could argue. I don't want to go. No, I don't want to. I don't want to go into say it was dice ball. It wasn't dice ball. Um, because we won. But the possession, Brighton dominated possession with 68.9%, Everton 31.1. 16 shots with one on target, and we had three with one on target. Eight fouls, whereas Everton committed 11. They had nine corners, and we had one. I hope these stats are reliable. I am taking them from different sources, but they're not always the best. Where are we? Our passing rate, I think ours was around 75% again. So it's it's moving in the right direction. That 31%, it's mad, isn't it? Because it's like we've kind of out Brighton there with well, no, we didn't really hit them on the break. I guess we got a penalty on a little bit of a breakaway, but um, yeah, the had to put up with a lot of pressure in the end from Brighton, but holding on and ultimately that is a performance and a win. It's hard to say, but I'm going to say it. Even though we got won two out of the last three down there, with the way we've been going this season, I just couldn't see it. I couldn't see how that would happen under Dyche, especially, you know, two out of the last three we've won. Is it three out of the last four? Peterborough as well. Yeah, I couldn't have seen us holding on. It's easy to look back and say that, though, isn't it? But Moyes in the press conference afterwards gave Dyche a lot of credit for building that defensive resilience, which I thought that's a nice touch in it. And sometimes, a lot of the time, Moyes will do that kind of classy, those type of classy gestures, and you know, credit. Well, he couldn't credit with him a whole lot more, with much else, could he? So, yeah, but it's the Blues managed to hold on. And it wasn't through a lack of trying, really. It was backs against the ball. We made quite a few changes, and ultimately, again, Mangala limped off late on. I think he did pop back on for a little bit, but ended up having to go off. Maybe I'm getting the games mixed up here with Mings yesterday. Anyway, um, yeah, but he's going to be. I wanted to hold off on recording for as long as possible because I was waiting on news about Calvert-Lewin and Mangala, but still no real concrete news yet. Just in the presser that Calvert-Lewin's going to be assessed and Mangala is. I think that one looks a little bit dodgier. But we'd already made all our subs, and so we were down to 10 men for a good 10 minutes of it. I think 85th minute you were off, and there was quite a substantial amount of injury time. So, um, yeah, so there's going to have to be some level of movement in the this transfer window, you'd imagine, um, which I'll come on to in a little bit again. Is any more recap? Yeah, let's just see. Yeah, so Minte ended up coming on for Brighton, and we made a few changes. Obviously, the Beto change. Patterson came on 62nd minute. Young and Garner ended up coming on 78th. Decore could, if Mangala has to face a spell out, Decore could pop back into that central midfield position and maybe play Garner there if he's and then obviously Timmy will be able to push on a little bit. I don't think he's quite ready again yet, but he's going to have to be, isn't he? Let's see, anything else? Yeah, no. Yeah, some solid defensive display, real tenacity shown. Um, O'Brien solid again. His first clean sheet with the Blues, but two starts and two wins, so can't ask for much better than that, can you? And do you know what? They look like a real togetherness again. There was a lot of Barneys going on, wasn't there, with Brighton not so happy. I think Pickford got booked for wasting time again, and so what I sort of stat before, three bookings for wasting time this season and three for dissent. So he's being a narc. But the team all like battled together, and it harkened back a little bit to the Dogs of War. So really good to see the mentality. And I said earlier on in the week, like last week's podcast, about the togetherness shown on the training grounds, and how many smiles, and Moyes is looking happy to be there, and this is the other side showing that grit and that togetherness in that sense as well. So. Um, it just looked like just a completely different team. Again, I don't want to be rose tinted, but the proof is kind of in the pudding so far. We did allow them possession, but remained compact and capitalised where we could. And then Ndiaye was this outstanding threat, and ended up getting the goal from the spot. Um, Goalie ended up going the right way, but it was in the corner enough to get to beat them. So good stuff. So O'Brien again, as I said before, stood out. Moyes again in the presser said, a lot of the times when young players are coming through, they kind of have to come in out of position, and a lot of centre backs do end up making their debuts, the first spells out as a fullback. And he said that's what he had to do at Celtic, and it's what O'Brien's doing, and but he's taking his opportunity really well, isn't he? And I said Matoma was really going to be one to watch. He's a handful all the time, but Emma Lindstrom did enough. So yeah, two in a row, and it is 7 points clear now of the relegation zone. Leicester to play on Saturday, so on and up we go. So I will leave the recap of Brighton there, and I'll be back in a sec with a little bit of Everton news.
News!
Okay, so Everton news, still not as much news as we would like, unfortunately. Most of the news that we got this week is pretty grim, actually, with the injuries and stuff. So, um, yeah. Uh, First off, the emails came out today about the second test event, and I was successful in the first ballot, so it's saying that you've automatically been kind of discounted or discarded from the race to get the second one. So I wonder what they're going to do for the third one, because I can't imagine everyone who applies is going to be successful, especially with there's 30 odd thousand. I think it was. I think it was 10, 20, and 30. So I imagine they'll put the names back into the pot, and you might get the second opportunity. And yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. I'm really excited to get down there. As I said before on the podcast, my new place is not too far away. Just probably, just walking down the other side of Costco, the business end of town. So that'll be interesting. Shoot home after work and then down there. So handy. Um, It'll be interesting to see, like, once it's all up and running and that, and once they get the bars open down there. They've tried to expand town for years, and just haven't been as successful as they could have been, as they could have been in the past few years. That way, obviously, a lot of the youngsters will know, like, the Baltic, and it's a popular place now. But for us old timers, that is only a very recent. It's only very recent that all those bars have been. I say very recent, last 10 years or so. But they've been trying to do that the other side of town. So with the ground opening there, and if they do anything with the train stations and stuff as they're meant to be, all the new bars opening up, and there's going to have to be a lot more food establishments and stuff. You can see a lot more changing around there, a lot more changes. There's just knock-on effect is going to be great. So uh, yeah, looking forward to it. Really looking forward to just town getting bigger. It can only be a good thing, can't it? So yeah, excited to get down there as well. I wonder whether the stones are being placed. I've not seen this yet. With people's names on. I'm not sure. I haven't had any notifications about that yet, but that'll be nice to see. Go and get a picture with our stones, and yeah, all good. Not so good. So mentioned before, so Mangala and Calvert-Lewin, well, getting scanned today, I believe, but there's been no news as yet. Some other news, injuries around Everton. It's just been on Sky Sports News just about 10 minutes ago that Broja is now going to stay at Everton for the rest of the season. So I wonder, they probably weren't able to sort out the financial package side of things with sending him back. But it does mean that we won't be able to get another domestic loan, which really, really shortens our options. So that's a bit of a blow. But it might also mean that Broja might be back quicker than he first thought. So that could potentially be a good sign. We can hope. And but they're going to have to look internationally if they're going to want to bring more loans in. And the talk is as well. I don't know. I don't know how concrete this is, but the talk was when Beto was being linked with Torino. It looks like that has been revived. That deal. Moyes hasn't seen enough of him that has impressed him by some accounts. I'm not going to say by all accounts, and uh, yeah, he's not part of his plans. But I mean, it would seem daft, wouldn't it, to let him go now without having a replacement lined up? We've got Leicester on Saturday. Have we got another fit striker? Nobody's asked anything about Chimiti so far, so we haven't really had any updates on him. Um, you've got to imagine if Beto, as is here we go, is an appearance from. I think I said this last time. Snoop Moggy Mog. Uh, unless that she's on the green screen bit and I've just stroked the middle of the middle of the wall. Um, yeah, so I can't imagine it'll be let go unless we've got a replacement lined up, or unless they've got better news about Broja and Calvert-Lewin. You'd think, wouldn't you? Look, Everton haven't always been the most logical when it's come to these kinds of decisions. Um, so a few more days now. Some of the players we have been uh, linked with Neil again. Apparently, he's been watched over the last few games, and he might be looking to step that up. The links with the Chelsea lads look like that they ain't going to happen because um, so it would have been Chilwell and Chukwuemeka. That's it. I'm sorry, and yeah, with Broja staying, that looks like it's going to be a no go. Um, So Evan Ferguson's name's been popping about the place all over the show with a lot of clubs being linked with him. Now he's back fully fit for Brighton. Everton, I can't see going in for him again because he's likely to go on loan for this season. So we haven't got the space. So it's going to have to be short-term deals with players who are on coming towards the end of the contracts or international or full whack. And when we bought players in on at this stage, when we got Walcott and Tosin in a few years ago, wasn't that like something like 28 million each? We don't want to get burnt like that again. Some of I've got Sky Sports News on the background. This deal where Cunha's being linked with a move away from Wolves. Um, I can't see Everton matching whatever it is, 50 million or 55 million or whatever that they're going to be um, forking out whoever picks him up. But some of the other players, while we get some of the yeah, so I don't know, just it's all we can do, isn't it? It's like it doesn't look like there's many. Uh, we're not going to have to sell like we have done in the past, so that's a good thing. The links have been out there with Richarlison again. He scored yesterday, but was taken off. It wasn't the best performance overall, but he doesn't seem happy there at all, and it would be. Uh, it would be put about 75% of Everton fans, I think, would be pleased with a move for Richarlison. I've seen a few people saying that he's always injured as well, but injured he wasn't with us. Well, he did have one or two spells of him, but he was so consistent for us, effort wise. That's not to say he could go on and lead the line for us again. He seemed to do better for us when he was like coming in from wide. Um, but having someone who's that kind of passion for us, um, I don't know. I'd welcome it, and I'm sure a lot of other Blues, like I said, would as well. And Cat's just knocking me laptop all over the show here, so apologies. Um, yeah, so not much else out there. There was a little bit about Morpay again, and he got taken off, and Marseille got beat, and there was a big banner knocking him. He's just making enemies all over the place, and he was just a bad whopper. So um, the sooner he's got no more links with Everton Football Club, the better. Uh, but that's essentially that's it for the news this week. I probably missed all kinds, haven't I? But I'm gonna give you our social media links, so please make sure you give us a follow, a like, etc. And yeah, I will be back in a sec.
This is the Not Bitter, Just Better Everton podcast. If you haven't already, go and like us on Facebook, facebook.com/EFC Not Bitter, Just Better, or you can find us on Twitter @JustBetterEFC.
Okay, so there are our links. So feel free to go and give us a like and a follow if you haven't already. Engagement has been up quite a bit this week, so that's good. I am sticking with it. I know it's going to take a good hard slog to get back up to where we were, social media wise and podcast listener base wise, and so I appreciate everyone who's chipping in. And like I said before, if anyone has got any voice notes or anything like that, and or video clips or whatever, now we're doing the video aspect. If you want to send them to us, just get in touch through our social media platforms, and I'll drop them in, as long as they're not like super offensive or anything. Yeah. But obviously, got much more of an interactive element potentially. So, yeah, feel free. So Leicester, I will do a Leicester preview on Friday, and I'm hoping we'll have a lot more news for you then, and maybe one or two players to talk about. Um, be back, good to be back at the bar. So Segura, and hopefully Paul will be back in as well. He's missed the last few games, so being without my match day buddy there. So um, yeah, that'll be good. And then. Yeah, we've got the small matter of the FA Cup fourth round coming up against Bournemouth, and Bournemouth they're just we need to start taking some lessons off teams like Bournemouth and Brighton, although we don't want a lesson off the Brighton of Saturday. But and just the way Tottenham used to just uh, follow our scouts around and sign whoever we were interested in. Maybe that's what we should do. Put a tracker on one of their scouts and go and get on board with all the players they're linked with, because they're doing an excellent job of recruitment. And the Bournemouth have got a lot of players out, and they're still flying. So yeah. So Bournemouth fourth round of the FA Cup, and of course the small matter of the Merseyside derby coming up, the last one at Goodison, well, in the Premier League anyway, and yeah. Can't say I'm going to be looking forward to that. It's going to be a narky affair, isn't it? But I am looking forward to it, of course. But the bad temperedness is just it's. I'm a little bit mild mannered myself, so it's stressy, especially after a day in work dealing with other stressy situations. So yeah. Anyway, I've managed to waffle for another 3 minutes after saying I'm going to sign off. So cheers for listening again. I will get this out there as soon as possible, and then I will